We got our first $10.
Howdy. Yeah.
Hold your hands out.
Yep. Neighbors. What's that?
Take your bag off.
Oh yeah, for sure. Searching it?
Yep.
Okay. Should just be camera. Get appreciate it. And then I'm vlogging.
Hey everyone, welcome back. You know how you sent in that story from the Everyday Hustle podcast, the one that really caught your attention?
Right, about the guy Ben who decides to sell literally everything and start over completely from nothing.
Yeah, that's the one. So today's deep dive is all about Ben and, well, his wild ride. Like, talk about a life makeover, right?
It is pretty extreme. Most people think about making changes gradually, but he went all in, just completely upended his life.
And get this, it wasn't like he was forced into it, like he lost his job or anything. He actually chose this. What do you think that says about him?
It speaks volumes about his mindset, that's for sure. It suggests he's not afraid of risk, of stepping outside his comfort zone. There's a real sense of liberation in that kind of decision, but also vulnerability,
Totally. It's like, remember that time we tried to, minimize our wardrobes? Just get rid of everything we didn't absolutely love.
Right. We talked about it for weeks, and even then, we only got rid of a couple of things.
Exactly. So to think about getting rid of everything, not just clothes, but furniture, electronics, everything, I mean, wow. And then on day one of this whole minimalist lifestyle, he runs into a major hurdle.
Yeah, the story takes this kind of sobering turn. Ben's mistaken for, well, somewhat he's not, simply because he has all his possessions with him.
He basically gets stereotyped, right?
Yeah.
Just because of his appearance.
Exactly. And it leads to this encounter with the police, which unfortunately is something that happens far too often to people experiencing homelessness.
It's a reminder that we all make snap judgments based on how people look, even if we don't want to admit it.
We do. And for some, those judgments have real consequences. But in Ben's case, it seems like this experience fueled his determination.
Because get this, within 60 days, he goes from sleeping on the streets to being able to afford an apartment. 60 days.
It's remarkable, isn't it? Almost hard to believe. What do you think? Was it just pure luck, hard work, or, some combination?
I mean, imagine the hustle. 60 days, that's what, 2 months to completely turn your life around? What do you think was going through his mind?
He must have been driven, determined to prove something, maybe to himself or maybe to those who doubted him. It's an incredible story of resilience.
It really is. And here's where it gets interesting. He decides to share his story online, to inspire others. And, well, it doesn't quite go as planned.
That's where we dive into the double-edged sword of social media, right? The good and the bad, all mixed up.
It's like he's out there sharing this incredibly vulnerable, raw, authentic experience.
Right, hoping to connect with people, maybe motivate them.
Exactly. But then, bam, he gets hit with this wave of negativity.
And not just a little bit of negativity. We're talking full-on online hate.
People questioning his motives, accusing him of making it all up.
Which is, kind of a typical internet response, sadly. It's like people forget there's a real person behind the screen.
It's so easy to be nasty when you're hiding behind a username. Remember that time, I think it was last year, when that celebrity chef got slammed online for, using the wrong kind of pepper in a recipe?
That's ridiculous, wasn't it? People were brutal.
And it's like, come on, people, it's pepper. But I guess it just goes to show how, I don't know, uninhibited people feel online.
Yeah, psychologists actually have a term for it, the online disinhibition effect. Basically, being online can make people feel less restrained, more likely to say things they'd never say face-to-face.
So, anonymity emboldens people to be, well, jerks.
Pretty much. And for someone like Ben, who's already in a vulnerable place, that kind of negativity could be really damaging.
It makes you wonder, how do you even begin to process that? I mean, imagine going through all that he did, finally getting back on your feet.
Right, feeling proud of yourself, ready to share your story.
And then, boom, you get bombarded with hate.
Yeah.
How do you not let that completely derail you?
Well, that's the thing about Ben, right? He doesn't let it derail him.
Yeah.
Instead of retreating, he actually uses it as fuel.
He doubles down, becomes even more determined to share his message.
It's almost like he thought, okay, you want to talk about resilience?
Let's talk about resilience.
Exactly. He uses this experience as a platform to have deeper conversations about, the emotional toll of online hate, the importance of self-care.
It becomes bigger than just his personal story, right?
Right. He creates the space for other people to share their experiences with online negativity.
Instead of letting it isolate him, he turns it into this, community of support and understanding. Pretty amazing, actually.
It really is. And it makes you think, did any of those people who were so quick to judge him ever stop to think about the impact of their words.
Did they ever consider that maybe, just maybe, there was more to the story than what they saw on their screens?
It's a good reminder to, pause and think before we hit send, especially online. Our words have power, even if we don't see the immediate impact.
So true. Ben's story is a case study in resilience, but also a reminder about the importance of online empathy.
Yeah, a reminder that there's a real person on the other side of every screen, someone who deserves our kindness and respect.
You know, his story actually reminds me of a quote by Brené Brown. She said, "Owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it." And Ben, he owned his story, every messy, complicated bit of it.
He did. And in doing so, he not only transformed his own life, but he also created space for others to do the same. So what can we take away from all of this? What are some tangible things our listeners can apply to their own lives, even if they're not, selling all their possessions and starting over?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
How do we take these big ideas, this story of resilience and online hate, and make them relevant to our everyday experiences? It's kind of like, what can we actually do with this information?
Right, exactly. It's about finding those nuggets of wisdom, those practical takeaways that we can apply to our own lives.
So where do we even begin?
Well, I think one of the biggest lessons here is about resilience, right? But not just resilience in like a tough it out kind of way.
More like resilience with a purpose.
Exactly. It's about reframing challenges as opportunities. Like
Right.
Ben could have easily let that online hate silence him, but he didn't.
He used it as fuel, turned it into something positive.
Right. He could have just crawled back into himself, but instead he used that negativity to spark a conversation, to raise awareness.
So it's about finding the opportunity in the obstacle.
Yeah.
Turning those what the heck moments into, okay, what can I do with this moments?
Exactly. Now, obviously, most of us aren't going to experience the extremes that Ben went through, but we all face setbacks, right? Disappointments, criticisms, failures, those moments when you just want to give up.
Oh, tell me about it.
But it's in those moments that we can choose to be like Ben. We can choose to rise above the negativity, to find the lesson, the opportunity, the chance to grow.
It's about like taking back our power, not letting the situation or other people dictate how we react.
And sometimes that act of resilience, of choosing hope over despair, that in itself can be a powerful message to others.
So let's say our listener right now is facing a challenge. What's one tangible thing they can do today to tap into that Ben-like resilience?
It doesn't have to be some grand gesture. Start small. Maybe it's choosing to see a mistake as a learning opportunity rather than a failure. Or maybe it's reaching out to someone for support instead of trying to tough it out alone.
It's about those small acts of courage, those little shifts in perspective that can make a world of difference over time.
Exactly. And you never know, those small acts might inspire someone else to do the same. It's that ripple effect.
It's like Ben's story started as this one guy's journey, but it became so much bigger than that. It became this powerful reminder that we all have the capacity for incredible resilience.
And that even in the face of negativity, even when it feels like the world's against us, we still have the power to choose kindness, to choose hope, to choose to make a positive difference.
Ben's story is a testament to that, and honestly, it's pretty inspiring. So, for our listeners out there, we hope Ben's story has given you a lot to think about.
We hope it's encouraged you to embrace your own resilience, to find those opportunities for growth, even in the toughest of times.
And hey, maybe even inspired you to spread a little more kindness and empathy out there in the world. Because, let's face it, we could all use a little more of that. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those deep dives going.